be able to find it now. Can you find it now? Just go to that same link, the one I sent you. It's what? The one I sent you just now? The one I tweeted? Well, I don't. Okay. Wait. What I'm going to do. First of all, I'm going to delete this so that every person on Earth doesn't come here and get into this thing. Then I'm going to figure out why. Okay, there's Richard. People. Chat. I'm so sorry. I'm such a
No, this stuff is still harder than it should be. It's I've had a lot of these fall apart.
It is. You can see it. Okay. Can you send a link? It says it's live. Live on the air.
There we go. When I see it come up on Twitter, I'll retweet it to people.
Okay. And then we'll talk about everything we already talked about. That was our rehearsal. How? I know. Poor you. I'm sorry. He can see you. Excellent. Woohoo!
Oh, yeah. I can see me over your shoulder on his monitor.
How awesome is that? Okay. So you're tweeting a link?
So, yeah, if I see a tweet go up that with my name in it, then I can retweet it.
Okay. Make sure you use his Twitter name, and he will retweet it. And I will watch for the tweet too, and then I will retweet it.
Great.
Because I'm not just a doofus, I can press a button on my mouse.
That is one good thing about Twitter. They do keep that stuff simple.
Yes. I do actually find you need a master's in engineering to work Google Hangouts.
Yeah, something is always getting weird. Oh, I think the tweet's up. Let me see.
Yes.
Okay, there we go. I'm gonna retweet right now.
Yay.
All right. See what happens. See if anybody else shows up.
They will show up. It's been recorded. We can.
Oh, you're recording too? Oh, okay, great.
I think it's being recorded, yeah. Thing at this point. I'm here and you're here.
My hair looks really weird on this tiny screen with me on it down at the bottom of the page.
Could you not see yourself before?
No, I can see myself fine. Yeah, no, I can see myself the whole time. I've had it before where I couldn't see myself, which is very kind of weird.
And there we both are. And there, now I'm going to make myself big. That's my superpower with this. I can make either one of us big.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Yeah, I don't need to see my stupid face any bigger, so I'm fine.
Well, everyone else can see you better this way, too. And there's at least one person watching. And
Oh,
then later on, they will. It's weird because when I did this another time with a practice run with someone else, what I
mhm.
noticed is that sometimes people are watching, and I know they're watching because they're making comments elsewhere, but I don't see their numbers. I don't know why that happens. So there could be more people watching. Uh,
Well, hello to anybody watching. All one of you or more.
I just feel so honored that you're here. It's
Oh,
so lovely.
really nice.
Um, I keep making typos.
Yeah, I'll put this on Facebook too.
We're talking. Oops. We're talking Gab. What? What?
All right, let's see if this works. All right, this is the last technical kind of thing I'm going to try. All right, so I put us on Facebook and Twitter.
Okay. And
See
now
you shows.
there you are. I can see some more people are coming.
Oh,
Woohoo!
all right.
Hello, more people. We don't know who
Hello.
you are. This is Richard Cadre. I'm Salme Jones. You can chat over here. You can ask us questions. Q and A. Do we want to let them do that?
Sure, of course. I like that.
This feature is disabled. Screw you. Google Hangouts.
Huh.
Chat. Okay. Richard Cadre joined your chat. Oh.
Oh, okay. I can see you in the. You just came
Yes.
up in the
Well,
group chat.
hopefully, if someone else wants to chat, they will see that there and they will realize they can chat.
All right. Yeah,
Um,
if you're on, you want to ask questions, feel free. If you can
right.
get through.
Or ask them on Twitter, and I'll try to keep my eye on my Twitter.
Oh,
You can
that's a
ask
good
them
idea.
on my Twitter. You can ask them if you ask them with Richard Cadre's Twitter handle. And I just got, there just is one for both of us.
Okay.
Hello, Bruno. He's, can you see it? Or is it too hard for you to watch?
Oh yeah, yeah, I see. Hello, hello, Bruno Guerin. Yes, hi there.
Yes. Hello. I believe Bruno has backed the Kickstarter already, so that's cool. Thanks
Right.
for hanging out with us. Um, we should, now that we've had this rehearsal time,
Yes.
we should talk about, can you tell me something else about I haven't read The Getaway God yet. So what is the primer on that book? Like, give me
Okay.
your elevator pitch.
Getaway God is the sixth book in Sandman Slim series. It is the end of a giant story arc that began with book one. So this really finishes off kind of everything I set up in those first few books. And what it's about basically is Stark having to face off against a group of old gods, the older gods who ran the universe before the current god, and finding out how that happened, why that happened, and why the older gods are so pissed off about everything. And he is the one who's kind of the focal point of all this kind of craziness. And so he has to go up against them. He has to go up against some old enemies from previous books. So I'm really trying to bring everything together, all the stuff we've set up in the earlier books, and make things, just put it all together into one book, and to set it up so that I can change the series, not change the series, but to start over again in book 7, the one I'm writing right now. And because now that I've come close to destroying the universe in this book, book 7, kind of have to regroup and start over again. You can only destroy the universe so many times before people stop taking it seriously. So
Right.
the new book I'm working on, I'm calling my James Elroy novel. But Getaway God is pretty large in the way it works. Like I said, it's on a universal scale, whereas the book 7 that I'm working on is much more grounded in LA and LA crime history.
Yeah. Oh, I see. You made that sort of switch. Well, you're not finished writing book 7.
No, I'm about 2/3 of the way through, a little more than that actually, and I'll have it done in about 3 to 4 weeks.
And then it will take some amount of time for it to go through its process.
Right, it'll be out next August. So
Ah, you already have a.
kicked back and forth. Probably, I'm sorry, my other computer, Yosemite just finished downloading on another computer and just popped up. So yeah, that'll be edited probably through January, and then it goes off to come out in August. I already have the cover. It's crazy how early in the process these days marketing gets involved. I mean, we already have a marketing campaign kind of in place. I just got the book cover for a book I haven't finished yet. I just got the book cover earlier this week, and it's really great. It's really terrific. I really like it.
Cool. Oh, I look forward to seeing it. Yeah, I think because there's so many things to distract us from reading books, they want to build up as much enthusiasm as possible, and that can take a longer time.
I think so. I think it's exactly it. Trying to
Yeah.
cut through the noise.
It makes it hard for us because we have to compete with that. I mean, we don't have to compete, but if we want to sort of try to emulate the traditional model, that's where we have to go. And for us, we try to contract books with authors, and we started out saying we will have this published in 6 months. And
Mm-hmm.
now we say we will have it published in 18 months because there's just no way edit and then get arcs done and send them out. And you have to do that so far in advance. So
Yeah.
it kind of sucks to have to make an author wait that long. They're like, oh, my book is going to be published in a year and a half.
Well,
Anticlimactic.
that's old school publishing. That's what it was in the old days. And I mean, you need that, especially if you're smaller, to start building up. A lot of this is word of mouth these days. I mean, you can do all the online stuff, but you get the real readers through word of mouth, and that takes a while.
It does. And you have to get arcs out to a
All
million
that.
people, and you're like,
Yeah.
what? Everyone who wants this book already has an arc. How is anyone ever going to buy it? But
Are you
no,
still are you still doing physical arcs?
uh, we have done some physical arcs. This book that's coming out on Tuesday, we had a publicist for that book, and she wanted physical arcs, and then she wanted physical finished copies to
Mm-hmm.
use before the book came out. So I let her lead on that, and we're trying to see how that will go. We try
Right.
to do e-arcs when we can, but people seem to really want the physical ones. We'll see whether it works out to be worth the extra money to get physical arcs out.
Right. Right. Well, I like physical arcs sometimes because I mean I'm happy to read something on an iPad, for instance, but not necessarily if they're going to send me a PDF because it's hard to resize on an iPad. If someone wants to send me something in a Kindle or an iBook format, that's great because I can resize the type so that it's easier to read.
Right.
But PDFs can be a pain in the ass, at least for me. My eyes aren't
Yeah.
that great.
I don't. My eyes are terrible, and I don't really want to read it on my computer because your neck gets tired of just sitting there reading on your screen forever, and it's not very convenient to move the pages. But I have a Kindle Paperwhite, and so and we put it in every format possible. We will give it to anyone however they want it. But
Yeah,
sometimes they say I prefer physical copies, and so there you go.
there you
We
go.
hope next year to move to NetGalley. Do you know about NetGalley?
No, I don't know about that.
NetGalley is a company that runs a website where publishers can go and put their books up for people. They for their own reviewers. They can send out a message saying this book is now available at NetGalley, and also people who are on NetGalley who already review other things can see books that they might like to read to review and download them. And it's controlled. It keeps people from like distributing it wildly outside the system.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
So yeah, lots of people like to use that, and I hope that next year we'll move to that. Uh, it's not. It's easier, less expensive for us to not do that, but I think we would get a broader section of reviewers that way.
No, you got to try everything, right? I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Right. So fingers crossed, we're gonna nail this Kickstarter, and we're gonna do Haunted Futures, and then
That's,
you are gonna write us some sort of story that
mm,
no one knows what it is. I
including
like
me
the
at this point. Including me. I have a couple of ideas, but just ideas at this point.
right. Well, I think this is good because this is not the way I usually do an anthology. This is the first time that I've said I want these writers because of who they are and what they write, and I will not have as much control over the stories that they give me because they're going to write what they want to write that
Mm,
fits with this. And that's a good thing. And then what I will do is do the rest of the anthology the way I usually do, which is a call for submissions that we'll put around in a few prominent places that writers go to look for calls. And then we'll choose the very best stories that fit best with the things that you and all the others have already written. So we can make them work together. I need a little bit of flexibility in case, because I don't know what anyone is going to write. That's going to
mm.
be a new challenge for me. Do we have another person? Who is it?
Yes, we do have somebody who just popped in.
Who is that person?
It looks like a Will Vincent.
Hi, Will Vincent. Who are
Hello,
you?
Will. Oh, I can see the icon at the bottom. Yeah, there we go.
No microphone. Okay. He's just watching, maybe. Hello. Um. Anyway, I think it could be really cool, and I'm actually toying with some ideas, like in between the stories, doing some sort of overarching thing with little interstitial bits that
Hmm.
I don't know what it will be. It depends on what the stories are. But maybe a graphic novel page in between each of the stories instead of prose writing. That could be cool. We'll have to see how it works out. Just it totally depends on the stories. If there's some obvious way to frame them without
Mm-hmm.
tying them together necessarily, but because they won't be able to be tied together, but just to create this little frame that will be interesting visually
Mm-hmm.
instead of a bunch of extra writing that people are going to go, what? Who cares about that writing? I think they'll
Right.
be more interested in like a page with illustrations on it with
Mm-hmm.
not very much writing. I'm I have a feeling that could work, but it totally does depend on the stories.
Yeah.
Could be
But
some
sounds like
other thing. Someone who I know who writes comics, I was talking to him about this idea to see if he thought it would work, and he said, Richard Cadre, he's written comics before. Chuck Wendig, he's written comics. Warren's written comics. You should just say to each one of them, write me the comic page that goes right before your thing. I'm like, what? No. I'm not going to do that because the whole point is to like make an overarching thing. How would they even be able to do it?
right.
I mean, it's something that could be done, but that's not what I think will happen. And plus, how do you say to someone, well, now I've asked you to do this one thing and now I'm going to ask you to do something else too?
Right. Right.
That doesn't seem appropriate. Anyway, I think it will be an awesome book, and I'm so looking forward to making it happen. I think we'll put it in beautiful. Did you see this? This hardcover copy of Red Phone Box?
Oh no, I haven't seen the hardcover. That looks great.
This is the, we'll get it printed at this place. They do excellent work. They did this
Oh, nice.
end papers with maps, and they can do any, this is probably nothing to you, but I'm not used to having, I mean, it's London, so we can do anything with this.
Mm-hmm. No, it looks great.
Richard Cadre is right there. I should probably, I mean, I feel like people have so many books that just because they blurb something, they don't necessarily want you sending them a copy. They're like, oh, great, another book. But maybe you would not have felt that way.
Yeah, no, if you want to send a copy, I'm perfectly happy. I mean, it's a fun, it's a really entertaining book. I really enjoyed it. And I
Oh, cool.
actually, it's very funny now. I got very paranoid after we moved. Um, we moved to a smaller apartment, and I was very proud of myself because I managed to give away to charity a lot of my older books that I was holding on to. And I really got obsessed with it because we had so much stuff. Knowing we were moving into a smaller place, I got obsessed with getting rid of so many things. And then we moved in here, and I sort of looked at my shelves and I realized I got rid of everything. Like I gave away. Like there are books in storage, but when I got here, it's like my bookshelves were just empty, and I hadn't had that happen since I was like a kid.
Yeah.
I just went too crazy before we moved, so now I'm actually filling my bookshelves up again.
Oh,
So
good. I will
then,
send you a copy of it, and then you can put it on your bookshelf.
that would be very good.
Okay, awesome. Well, I don't want to keep you forever. I know you're just being nice because I'm an idiot. And
Yes,
I
that's entirely the reason I'm here. That's exactly how it
no,
works.
that's not what I mean. I mean, I'm an idiot that I accidentally didn't put you on. Some
No,
people,
it's fine. It all worked out, right? So it all worked
it
out.
did. Stephen Blackmore retweeted it too. I
Oh,
have,
great.
when I read Stephen Blackmore's books, I can see some how he was influenced by you.
Mm.
Or maybe you were influenced by him. What do I know? But I assume it's the
We're
other way around.
probably just influenced by the same people, is my guess.
Well, that could be true too.
When
Yes.
I started out, I mean, I think I was coming from an older place because I didn't know that much about urban fantasy when I started writing Sandman Slim. So everyone else was, influenced by the contemporary writers, and I was stealing from Roger Zelazny. I mean, that was one of the influences on me. Moorcock, people like that. But it was much more older, kind of almost new, some of the New World's writers, basically. I mean, New World's, that old British magazine, was a huge influence on me. I was mostly science fiction, but there was enough fantasy. And both Moorcock and Zelazny and a lot of those writers were doing weird fantasy. M. John Harrison,
Yeah.
that was a big influence on me, much more than the contemporary urban fantasists.
Yeah. I don't think I'm trying to figure out exactly when I discovered urban fantasy. There was not a clear transition point. But then I discovered it and I was like, wow, this is what I like. I think I know it's not exactly it, but I think Stephen R. Donaldson, because it was like jumping from a modern world to a past world, and so it had a very faint flavor of urban fantasy just in passing.
Did he
And
write the series about the leper? Is that the one? I
yeah,
think.
that is
Yeah,
it.
never read that. I heard a lot about it.
That, I think from there I jumped to urban fantasy
Hmm. Hmm.
and dark urban fantasy in particular. And that's what I mean, obviously, right?
Right.
That's what Stephen Blackmore writes. That's what a ton of people whose work, sorry, I like, right?
Hmm. Clive Barker too. I mean, I think he's kind of in there. I mean, he's not someone that gets classified as urban fantasy, but he was definitely an influence too. I have a story coming out in Ellen Datlow's anthology next year called Dolls,
Huh?
and I never had the desire to write a doll story, but I could feel, bits of older writers and Clive Barker and some of that stuff. I mean, you can. He's definitely influenced on the Sandman Slim books too. So even though he's not considered part of the scene, he's definitely an urban
Yeah.
fantasist, even if he's not, marketed that way. What was the book of his I reread a while ago? Damnation Game. That's a really nice book.
Yeah. Yeah. I like a lot of Clive Barker's books too.
Hmm.
They sort of move around on the genre spectrum slightly from more toward the horror side. I mean, sometimes even maybe some of your stuff, some people would think of it as horror or dark fantasy.
Yeah, it's funny. I never considered myself a horror writer until people started putting me in the horror sections of books, and I started getting invitations to take part in horror things. I mean,
Yeah.
um, I still don't entirely know why I'm a horror writer at this point, other than that's how some people are perceiving me. I'm fine
Yeah.
with it, but it just sort of came out of the blue. I mean, I always consider myself much more of a fantasist than a horror writer, but
Yeah.
whatever works.
Yeah. Well, I agree. And I don't really think of your work as horror. Some people thought Red Phone Box was horror. They said it was like some sort of horror fantasy crossover
Hmm.
with a noir element. I'm like, noir element? What? But yeah, people can pick up on different things that we don't necessarily pick up on. I'm
Right.
talking to you, I'm trying to remember that you see me from right here. I see you right there. That's why I keep looking over there and you're like, what on earth is she looking at? This is where I see
Oh,
your picture. I have a
okay.
monitor right here and in the back is a laptop with I don't see anything on that screen because it's too confusing if I see stuff on two screens and I have to like type somewhere I go crazy. So to prevent that, I just force myself to look at the camera. But then
Okay.
sometimes I don't. I'm like, no, I want to see his face.
Hey, everyone's setup is a little bit different, I guess, right?
It's not usually like this.
Hmm.
Usually I have the monitor right here on a stack of books,
Right.
and because I don't need the camera, so who cares? I have it just going to the monitor.
Okay.
I just have this here now because I want to, if I have to type, I don't see very well. And
Hmm.
I don't want to have to lean forward like this and look like a little squinting alien. So I am back here. Well,
Um,
I want to thank you for coming on and
sure.
chatting with me, and it's been lovely to meet you. And I just don't, I'm not trying to make you go away, but I'm sure you have better things to do than sit here and talk to me for 40 more hours when I drift into delirium.
Well, not better, but I mean, not better things to do, but yeah, I am on deadline, kind of freaking out.
Yes. So
Uh,
uh, I will just let you go with my thanks, and we're gonna make it. We have to make it now. Look, you've
so,
been on
yeah,
here.
go. Yeah, if you haven't supported the Kickstarter yet, go support the Kickstarter.
Obey the man.
Yes. All
Okay. Take it
right, you
easy, my
take care.
friend.
Talk to you later.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye. So,
How do I don't actually know how to make you go away. I think, do you see a,
I think there's a little telephone at the top of the screen. If you
do
roll
I
your,
have to press that or do you?
I think we both do. Let's see. Three, two, one. Press it.
Click. Yay. Okay. Now Richard Cadre knows that I am a doofus. Okay. Now I'm going to say to you that I am really tired. And originally, my original thing should have ended in about 45 minutes. And that when it went off, I was going to take a nap. And now it's not going to go off then, but I might make it go off then. And then I'll start fresh when I wake up, which will be as early as I can move. Um, things are going well. They could always be going better. Here is where we are. I think we have something happened here. We have one more backer, or we have someone added to their Prius Tamsin. We have two more backers, and I will now post a Twitter update of where we are. Twitter. Richard Cardre has cool facial hair, cool tattoos. You missed the tattoo show because I somehow managed to make, when I had to restart the hangout, words don't work in my brain, I managed to make it only me and Richard Cardre who could see us. I don't know how, I don't even know why he could see me or why I could see him, but we could see each other. And now what I'm doing is probably going to start to seem like I'm delirious to people who are just on Twitter because I'm running out of energy. It's hard to be so upbeat all the time. It takes a lot of energy. I feel like I've been awake for 3 years, but I haven't. Thank you, Richard Cardre, for being so nice. Okay, now we will take a 5-minute meditation break where I just sit here and stare at you. Now I'm going to use my Night Vale voice. I don't really have a Night Vale voice, but I'm going to pretend that I have a Night Vale voice. And uh-oh, I hear some sounds. Stephanie. Who is Stephanie? I don't know. I am Stephanie. Hello, Stephanie. Stephanie, meet everyone. You can't see them. Can you? I don't know what people can see. If they're just watching, there's a little square right here. That is Stephanie, apparently. Stephanie, are you here on purpose? I guess. No one shows up in one of these on accident. Oh, I just don't know how I got there. Look, wait, where am I? Oh, it sounds like a dragon talking. There's like a low rumbling sound. Or possibly an alligator or a motorbike. Or a squeaky door. Stephanie, I followed a link to Mr. Cadre's Facebook. Oh, he just left. Did you get to see him at all? I guess not. Now I feel sad. Stephanie has left us. Apparently. Okay. I am I didn't mean to scare Stephanie away. Sorry, Stephanie. I was just like, really? I thought that the link that we put out was just... Sorry, I'm just seeing what is going on here. Was just to watch the feed, but that might have changed by accident because we aren't necessarily good at this. 12:30. So in about half an hour. Sorry for all the tissue stuff. I'm going to take myself over there and take a little siesta. I'll put the BRB sign or whatever this sign says that Tim made for me. Be right back. I'll put it. Huh. If I'm going to do that, I will actually have to tilt this. Nothing I do is going to make that sign visible. Okay. Well, never mind. All right. It's late now, but I'm going to tell you about another book that we're doing. I haven't been able to figure out how to get the author to come on to talk about it because she's in Kigali and her internet connection isn't very good. She's not from Kigali. She's English. She does consulting for charities. Sorry. In Africa. And that's where she is. That's why she's in Kigali. So the book is called Those Rosy Hours at Mazandaran. It's quite a good book. And it just came back from the proofreader. Actually, the proofreader, it sounds like, wow, the proofreader. But it was Gethin, our other editor. And he had some very nice things to say about it. I haven't yet been able to look at the proof because I'm doing this. But as soon as I get done with this, I will go over the proof. And we do this double proofing thing. Anyway, about the book. It's set in the 1850s in Iran, which was then known as Persia. But it was known in the West as Persia. She refers to it continuously throughout the book as Iran. I think because perhaps Persia is a little politically incorrect now. The narrator character of that book is the Shah's daughter, Afsar. And it starts when she's 10, just before her 11th birthday. And she goes through quite a lot of things that would traumatize a kid. And the thing that the author is Marion Grace Woolley. And what she said about it was that she wanted to understand what would make a young girl do terrible things. So she does a very good job, the author, of making it believable. She's an excellent writer. She is fairly amazing. This is her 4th novel. She has 3 published novels before this and a book of short stories. In a way, I see her as one of the small press problem stories because her books have never really been properly promoted. She loved her publishers. Wow, why am I so fuzzy? But they didn't know much about book promotion. And so what I really want for her with this book is for her to have more success, get more readers, because she is quite a talented writer. And unlike Jessica, who's also a talented writer, but she has had an opportunity to sell a lot of books in the past. This is something I don't know if we are going to be able to accomplish for her. But with your help, we have a much better chance of selling a lot of her books. I want to tell you that if you're watching this and you like dark, I don't really know what to call this. It's a gothic novel, sort of. And it sometimes borders on fantasy. Or magical realism. There are moments where things shift just enough out of reality, out of what we would consider reality. That's all reality for her. That I would say you could call it a dark historical fantasy. It's not, it's 1850s Iran. So it's not going to be some epic kings and queens fantasy of what you're used to. But what it is intense and lovely. And there's a circus. There's a costume, like masked ball. It's quite violent, but in a way, I don't really like violence. But the violence, because of the style of the book, it's not any sort of slasher book, but I found it just suspenseful, not horrifying. And I read it like that. I would have read it in one sitting, but we were on a little trip. And so I read it in the spaces when we weren't busy doing things. And I read it really quickly in like 4 days, mixed with being really involved in a lot of other stuff. And that never happens for me. So I'm underselling it because I'm tired. But I couldn't say much that would be over the top about this. It's on the list of books, my favorite books. As soon as I read it, it became one of my favorite books. And you will see more of her. There's no doubt in my mind that she's going to write something else. And in fact, she's writing something else right now. So I would love if this book could do well for her, if you could pick this book up. She is going to impress us all again. She can write in many different styles. She just needs inspiration. And she really deserves to be read much more widely than she has been so far. So just remember the name of the book, Those Rosy Hours at Mazandaran, and be prepared. I can't really make you understand how good it is because I'm too tired, which is why I'm going to have to go sleep. Look, I'm going to sleep like this. I'm going to sit here and be really sleepy. Thank goodness Richard Cartry doesn't have to look at me being sleepy right now. I'm getting tweets. Just people seeing the update. Okay. So, wow, only 10 minutes have passed. That's what happens when you're tired. Minutes crawl by. Jessica, hi. I'm getting really tired. I'm either going to have to take a rest soon or I'm going to have to drink a lot of coffee. But yes, I'll see you tomorrow. That will be awesome. 195. 40 hours left. 40 hours. Sounds like the name of something. Virginia. Thank you, Virginia, if you're listening. You probably aren't listening, but thank you anyway. I don't know if Jessica was watching when I talked about her book, but I did talk about your book, and I said great things about it, and we'll say some more great things about it when you come on. Go to sleep. I look like a person who should be asleep. I hear Tim getting together the closing up the end of dinner stuff. He was lovely and cooked dinner for me. I will probably go to sleep in a minute. And I think I was pretty clear that I was going to go to sleep at some point. £6,216. I think tomorrow, we have all day tomorrow, and on London time, at least, we have until almost 5 o'clock on Sunday. We have numerous guests to come on and chat with me, including Damien Walter, who's coming on tomorrow. We have the Ranting Idiots, 2 of them, I believe, 1 or 2 of them. We have Jessica Barksdale-Inklin. We have someone else. I don't know who it is because my brain doesn't work properly. Jessica, Damien, the Ranting Idiots, and I think there's 1 other person coming on tomorrow. And probably when I look at the page, I'll be shocked that I didn't remember. Yay, look, there's Richard Cadre in my window. I love it when there's Richard Cadre in a window. I obviously don't even know what I'm saying. Ghostwoods Books, there it is. Damien Walter, the Ranting Idiots, Jessica Barkdale. Oh, I need to fix that. Kendall Talbot will. That's not lipstick. That's just tired lips. Kendall Talbot will be on to talk about her book, Lost in Kakadu, for which she won a Romantic Novel of the Year award. She worked on that book with me, and she has already written 2 other books since that book finished that have not yet been published, but will be published. And that's what we're going to talk about just for a little while. She's going to talk to me from Australia, and it's going to be in the morning, her time, 9 a.m., and midnight for me. So when I'm like this, she's going to come on, and I'm going to try to know what to properly say to her. So I must pace myself tomorrow and try to rest my voice a little bit so that I actually have a voice when I wake up. So right now, I am going to close this window. Not the one with Richard Cadre in it. That window. That's the window right there. Hello. Still people, 3 people are viewing. Hi, 3 people, whoever you might be. Maybe Stephanie didn't actually get scared away. Maybe Bruno is still watching. Maybe Jessica is still watching. Maybe I'm on the Matrix. I'm not on the Matrix. One of them is apparently Tim. So Tim and 2 other people. Hello. Hi, Tim. Can you see me? Oh, that's good to know. Okay. I'm going to take myself to bed with my crazy cold. And I'll come back tomorrow, or at least in the wee hours of the morning. I will send out a notice on Twitter. I will put up a new thing on Facebook. I'll make sure that we change the link. I'll send an update out to the people of the Kickstarter who are my Rockstar supporters. Really thank all of you so much for what is this? You're nice to me. You're really nice to me. You're watching a very tired person who's going to get tired in the next 2 days. You're just waiting for me to collapse. But you're not really. You're just hanging out to make sure everything goes okay. And if it does go okay, it's going to be all because of you guys. So thank you. And even if it doesn't, I'm having fun. And I got to talk to Richard Cadre on my very own screen. And tomorrow I'm going to get to talk to Damien Walter. Like all these people who I've been talking to for a long time. And now I get to see them face to face. It's like, I don't know. I'm going to tell you a secret. I am not that huge a fan of movie stars. Like, if I would see a movie star on the street and recognize them, first of all, I probably wouldn't because I walk down the street with my head somewhere completely different most of the time. But if I would see a movie star, I would be like, oh, a movie star. Like, I would think, not that I would dismiss them as someone that I would ever think of talking to. No, not at all. But I feel like movie stars have people following them around and harassing them and not respecting their privacy. And really, I don't want to do that. So, but with a writer that I like, it's really not the same. I don't, for me, what I see most people doing with movie stars, I do that with writers, which probably says something about me. But so I just got to meet Richard Cadre just like that. Like we've chatted before on Twitter and so forth and so on. But and he read Red Phone Box and blurbed it for me because he's awesome. But you know, because of you guys, he came on here. Also because he's nice. And I asked him. I shouldn't really talk when I'm tired, but it's the truth. I'm going to tell you a little closing story about when I was in grad school. I did 2 grad programs in writing, and one was a Master of Fine Arts. And the faculty were all writers. And before before I went to that program, I made sure that I knew books from the various faculty writers. One of them was David Long. You may or may not know who he is, but he had just before that written a book called The Inhabited World. It's a very literary book, but he decided to make his main character dead and a ghost. And he had all these rules about the book, about what this character could do. He couldn't leave the confines of the yard of the house that he had lived in. And he couldn't touch anyone or interact with anyone in the outside world. This story was really more about his wife, who was still alive in the house. But he was the narrator, and he could slip back into their past and talk about it. The only being that he could touch was the cat, which was also not a live cat. It was a ghost cat, apparently. That's the only thing he could make out of why he could touch it. So I read that book right before I went to residency, and I thought I might want to work with him as an advisor. Now, it didn't work out that I got to work with him, but it did work out that one day I was running back to my room for something, and I saw him come in the building, and I figured he was going to be going upstairs, and I leaned out of the elevator and said, do you want to take the elevator with me? And then I was in the elevator with him, and I was like, this was a huge mistake. Now I'm going to have a panic attack because I'm in the elevator with David Long. And so I just tried to be calm. You know how it is when you're not calm and you're trying to act like everything is normal. But how do you do that? Because you don't really know how you act when everything is normal. You're not conscious of what you do. So I'm trying to think, well, what would I do if I didn't feel like I was about to hop up and down and squeal? I don't know. I would just stand here and stare at the elevator door. And then the elevator door opened on my floor. And I got off. And then David Long said, oh, I'll do this too. And he got off the elevator. And because he got off the elevator and I wasn't expecting him to, instead of knowing I'm on my floor, I was like, and I went upstairs and he went upstairs, but I wasn't going upstairs. So then I got to the top of the stairs and I was like, oh crap, this is not my floor. This is his floor. Now he's going to think I'm following him. And if I go back downstairs, he's going to think I'm an idiot. So I just froze in place. And then he turned around and looked at me, probably wondering, what on earth is she doing? And then I was like, sorry, I was in the elevator with you for 2 minutes and I went crazy. And then I ran back down the stairs. I don't think he understood what happened, but in my mind, I could never speak to him again because I made such an idiot of myself just because I was in the elevator with him. I didn't have any sort of crush on him. It's just oh my God, a writer, and I read his book, and now I'm in the elevator with him. Ridiculous. So then the end of the story is that I went on my blog. When I was there at school, I wrote a blog every day about what had happened. I wrote a post on my blog about what had happened. It never occurred to me in my, really, he's going to see my blog post. I didn't think he would. And then that was in my first year, maybe my first term. So that was when I first had met him. And the second year, we were somewhere at some group event where he was and I was, maybe at a, we used to all eat dinner together a lot, and faculty used to come and sit with us. And I was like, okay, I'm going to tell you all this story, my first David Long story. And then I told the story, and he was like, oh, yeah, I saw this on your blog. And I was like, what? He said, don't you read your comments? So he knew all along. Then I was embarrassed again. I was like, oh, no, what did you write? And he said, whatever you said when you were going down the stairs, I don't hear very well. And so I didn't hear you. So I completely made an idiot of myself. And I didn't have to. He didn't even know. You thought I ran downstairs for some other reason, not because I was a lunatic. Anyway, be careful. If you're a writer, I might act dumb around you. Or I could act dumb around you even if you're not a writer. All right. With that little bit of story, that I would go off and be in bed and be good so that tomorrow I can not be an idiot. It says there are 2 people watching. One of them is Tim. One of them is a very dedicated person, about as dedicated as me. I'm just going to check the Kickstarter. I didn't have so many windows open. Tomorrow I'll try not to have so many windows open. $39 hours left. It just clicked over. I'm reading Twitter now. This was my rehearsal for tomorrow, which is going to be a longer day. Today I didn't start until 5 in the afternoon. So tomorrow, if I have a voice, if I don't have a voice, I'm going to make a series of cards that I can hold up. Hello. It's not going to be very effective. I need sign language. Okay. We're at roughly the same place we were, 6,216 pounds. I would like to see us get about 3,000 pounds more before I start pressuring my friends. Right now, we have 39 hours left. And when I wake up, we'll probably have 30 something hours left. I'm going to have to sleep for at least 5 hours, I would say. And no one is going to be watching me on a Friday night anyway, right? So I don't have any guests scheduled until the early afternoon tomorrow. But I'll be here again, late morning. This is my normal bedtime, so I should be able to get up fairly early. I'll come in and out. I'll get coffee. I'll say hello to everyone. And then I will talk about something interesting. Okay. Two viewers. Someone is either really dedicated or the two viewers are me and Tim. That would be hilarious. Alrighty, lovely people. Or maybe one of them is still Stephanie. I'm going to go off air. Tomorrow we'll release new links because it's just silly to show you a picture of nothing. And I hope this hasn't been a total boring thing for you to listen to. My ears are starting to hurt from having these headphones on, but it's the only way I can hear without irritating you with other sounds. Okay, I will see you in a few hours. Thanks for your support and for watching and for not ridiculing me. Okay. Now, I don't know how to, I think press this. Hasta la vista.